Orpilia.
And we're here to discuss about the 4
values in Filipino drama and film.
Yes, by Nicanor Tungson, of course. Yes. So, cinemas, theaters, films.
Yes, and teleseries.
Yes, teleseries are widely known in the Philippines, right? And there are 4 values that Nicanor Tungson noticed that commonly found in our cinemas, films, and theaters that we adopted from our colonizers before. So,
To start with,
number 1! So, and our number 1 list is maganda ang maputi or white is beautiful.
so nowadays, people tend to look at the complexion of other skin, like if it's white, if it's fair, or if it's black. But for Nicanor Tiongson's Magandang Maputi, he really wanted to give us the information that we should not rely on other skin, di ba, Verna?
Right, so right. You have noticed that Spaniards and Americans have this common traits like maputi, pointed nose, big eyes, small lips, and in Jose Rizal's novel Noli Me Tangere, there's this one character named Doña Victorina. Doña Victorina is like a trying hard Filipina who wants to be a Spaniard. So she tried to put
Lots of makeup.
and tried to be white, and she's not white, which is so right. Trying to be other person or other race. So, oh my God, I'm so perfect. Like, look at my face, so white. Oh my God, and look at my lips, so rosy looking. Oh, you're so pretty. And look at my cheekbones, so rosy cheeks. Like, look at it. Oh my God, so perfect. Right? In that example, the girl is trying to be a Caucasian-looking girl, right?
Yes.
Caucasian-looking girl. In light of this, in our Filipino cinemas, theaters,
Films and teleseries.
the leading actresses or the protagonists are usually the non-ethnic looking or the mestiza looking actresses or actors, right? Like Dingdong Dantes,
Marian Rivera.
Julia Barreto, Mirabella. And we also noticed that not all but some of the antagonists or the contrabida are the not so mestiza or the native looking, like John Lapus,
Pu.
yes, Poo,
Pokwang.
Pokwang, and they are not even contrabidas or they're resulting into getting the role of comedians, right?
Yes.
Comedians. Not the leading actresses who would you admire to be with or to be partner with, but they're just funny. Like, ha ha ha, Then,
If you will notice nowadays, like in our commercials, you can see that Iya Villania, for her Silka commercial, she's saying that alagang papaya,
alagang silka.
So it means that she's implying if you're really white, then you're beautiful, which is really not that kind of thinking that we would like to think about with regards to ourselves, because our confidence kind of
Low esteem, yeah.
yeah.
When
If you know that if example I'm saying that, oh Verna, you're so black. You're so oh my gosh Verna, you're so black.
I'm so ill like that.
Yeah,
No,
that's
wrong.
so wrong.
It's like you're bullying somebody else because of just the skin color. So next would be putting makeups on. Come on girls, putting makeup is not everything. Look at me. I don't put makeups on my face. I'm not ugly. I don't because
Oh, you're not ugly. Your confidence is so high.
no. It's like, come on. Putting makeup is like putting another personality or another person in you. Okay, it's okay to put makeups, but not that thick that you're going to look so like a white lady. just look at it. Your powder, your lipstick, your blush on are becoming necessities, which is not right. Because we should look on the other way around to look the inner beauty of the person, right? Because this is the outside. That's the wrong thing right now. The beauty is on the outside. Yes, of course, if you're beautiful outside, it's something to boast. But that really counts, the one that really counts is the inside. Hopefully that people now in our generation should look on the inside, not on the physical appearance, right?
It's like in accounting we have this particular phrase about substance over form. So substance, we mean that substance is the inner beauty and the form is the outside beauty. So we can compare that to this Nicanor Johnsson's Magandang Maputi, since we can conclude that substance over form is like inner beauty dominates physical beauty. So which is really a good thing for all of us to avoid that kind of bad mentality when it comes to the skin.
Yes. And also, remember guys, that the one you see on TV like Ann Curtis or some other girls on the screen is of course beautiful and nice on the inside, but don't exchange them for the girls like Rochelle, who is really humble, who is really smart, respectable, friendly, or alike. I mean the characteristics that we really look on the inside, right? Inside appearance is greater than the outside. Two, 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 two.
Value number 2! So for our value number 2, we have masaya ang may palabas. The influences of the American and the Spaniards during the past are widely known by most Filipino producers. For example, here are the dramas or entertainment in the past regarding the Spanish regime.
In the Philippine setting, there are reasons why box office hits are in the number one or top. There are two reasons that we realize, and also the message of turns on to us. Number one is that we watch the movie because of the artist, right?
Yes, like for example, I am a fan of Sarah Geronimo. I really like watching her movies like You Changed My Life. So
It takes a man and a woman, like that.
it's like,
Bebe ko.
you
Yes.
know, the interest
Yeah.
in the movie is behind of the reason why you really want to watch it.
It's like you're watching it because of your idol, not because you want the
Really want
trailer. It's like you're a fan of her, that's why you're watching the movie. Another would be because the plot or the idea or the concept of the film is coherent to the American films,
Yes,
right?
like for some action films, I cannot mention some, but I know that they incorporated something from the Americans. Regarding the movies nowadays, like Danielle Padilla and Catherine Bernardo's She's Dating the Gangster, I have heard some that the movie is kind of predictable in a way that it will accumulate many audiences because first, the love team of Katniel is really,
Katniel.
you know, it really appealed to the
Yeah.
masses. So
Many
they're saying
idolize
that,
them, actually.
oh, it's a sure blockbuster. And I was really thinking of how can they be sure that it will be a blockbuster, but they really don't know what's the concept of the movie. Maybe some are saying that because
They read the book.
Yeah, they read the book. And for that, Yongsan also said that the movie industry had high income because of the actresses and actors, like what we have told them a while
Yeah.
ago. Like,
For example, Vice Ganda's movie. We're
yeah.
watching it because of Vice Ganda. We know that it's funny, even though the plot is not that.
Yeah, it's, it's too mainstream
Yeah,
for that.
yeah. But we know there is Vice Ganda, and we know it will be funny. That's why we're watching it. There's Daniel Paniga and Catherine Bernardo. You know it that it has that kilig factor because of the love team.
Maybe,
we watched it.
Yeah, maybe people think also that, for example, one actor and one actress are not that really famous and they tend to have a movie. So the tendency for the Filipino producers,
flop.
yeah, it's a very flop. So, we cannot blame also the producers, but it's like a hindrance for them to produce high quality movies because they're like totally depending on the actors and the actresses, not the authenticity or the beauty of the story itself.
Value number 3! We're now in a value number 3. And it's about the mabuti pa ang inaapi. So, let's go back in the past. During the Spaniards in American times, the playwriters tend to have these themes like
They imitate or copy the themes of suffering for people, or to be particular for the Filipinos.
yes. And the local playwriters adopted those kinds of themes, which is not really healthy. But take note, it became blockbusters during those times. And until now, they are still blockbusters, right? Those kind of maawa ka in the lead roles or lead actresses. Sorry. Then, there's maybe several factors why these things or why they still on the top. Those movies are on the top because first,
It's like the thinking about Christ, that didn't Christ himself promise the kingdom of heaven to those who suffer. So they thought of suffering as a virtue, that if they suffer, they will get into heaven and they are sure to be accepted by God if they suffer as well. Like the suffering of Christ. It's like that.
which is wrong.
Wrong.
Then another is there's no one who became successful in just a blink of an eye. But why do people doesn't ask themselves, why do they suffer? Why do these things happen? Did I do something for me to have this suffering mode? Well, Filipinos in these times are masochists. Masochists are people who enjoy being suffered,
Being in pain.
punished, being in pain. And an example of this is
For instance, the prices of our necessities in the market, like this is product A, which is fish, and product B, which is meat. And for an instance, the price of meat rises and the fish compared to the meat is inexpensive. So people will just divert their necessity to the fish without even thinking or knowing or
asking.
what caused the rise of the price in meat.
Yes,
So
that's
it's
a good
just,
example.
we're like, in our everyday life, we just accept that we cannot do something about it.
About our problems coming to us. We don't try to avoid, we just accept and pretend nothing happened. Right?
And it's like they're escaping.
Yeah, escaping the problems, or just
Accepting what can happen to
what
them.
life brings to them,
Yes.
like that. So,
Tiongson pointed out that suffering became a virtue of the Filipino life. But we must not forget that we have a dignity to protect. And if we just learn to accept all the sufferings in life, then we will be destroying ourselves slowly and killing our thoughts and our intellect without knowing what really happened or what's really happening in our surroundings or with the society. Verna,
Mm.
alam mo yung for?
Ano?
Yun kaya yung English ng mahirap. Diba? Pag may poverty, maraming for.
Yay! Number 4! So, we're now up to number 4, which is maganda pa ang daigdig. Or,
All is right in the world.
during the Spanish times, there's this connotation that all evil deeds are now punished or all good deeds are rewarded. While during the American era or American period, they introduced to us that Cinderella-ish plot, which is someone suffering, then Prince Charming, then boom, yes, in love. Then, in today's films, there are a lot of themes that doesn't really
Seem realistic enough.
yes that they introduce us that the world is fair, the world is just, the world is fun, the world is beautiful. Yes, the world is beautiful, but they implied that
It's kind of perfect in a way that if you suffer, don't give up because it's somewhat true. If you suffer or if you're going through a rough time, you must not give up. But in
I won't
movies,
give up.
it's really typified that those who will suffer will become rich, or those who will suffer
Or
will
if you
become
suffer in the future, there's a fortunate event that will happen and get rich and happy, which is not happening, or most likely will not happen,
yeah. And for that, we have an example.
which is this.
Hey you! Hurry cleaning that up. You're so slow. You have to clean the CR. You have to clean my room. I have to go. What are you doing? You're just cleaning up the floor? Faster! Hurry!
Yes, ma'am.
You're not cleaning enough. Look, there's many dirt.
Don't worry. I'll have my Prince Charming too, like Cinderella that I watched. Just watch and I'll get rich.
Let's see about that. In that example, we can see that the maid or the girl who was cleaning the floor totally depended her fate in the future by the movies maybe that she watched.
Like Cinderella, as mentioned.
Yeah. And we must not really depend on the movie's story, especially if it really is not that kind of realistic enough that
Therefore,
when we have realized what Nicanor Tiongson Fourth Value is all about,
maganda pa ang dating, yes.
yes, it means that in movies, the Filipino producers must show the reality,
Yes.
not what is behind the
Yes.
reality, not to cover up the reality, but what really is in the reality and what is reality.
Yes.
They tend to do ex machina, which from a very sad story, you'll be all of a sudden, like what we have in that example, you'll be really happy all throughout your life, which is really not, because like for our independent films, it tackles what is really the societal issues that we need in this current situation, like for our country, economically speaking, spiritually maybe, and for other issues as well. We must be realistic enough to think that not all in the mainstream movies, those love story, happy endings will happen, because that's not really the reality. That not all people get that kind of reality,
Yes.
which Filipino producers by Pyongson said that that's what is lacking in the Filipino filmmakers, the incorporation of reality in their films.
Yes. So, this is our last part, or close to last part video. And here we were going to conclude of what Kyung-son really want to tell us.
So with regards to the article or the essay entitled "Four Values in Filipino Drama and Film," Kyung-son wanted us to realize about this thing called economic liberation. With economic liberation comes the theme of colonial mentality. As you all know, colonial mentality is a kind of thinking that we wouldn't want to prosper within our lives and continue
And also adopt of the colonizers' way of living and thinking.
Yes, since we have reached our democracy, it's like with colonial mentality, even though we are physically free, we are still mentally conquered by the colonizers in our past. Regarding the films, the problem that we had seen and also Kyung-son saw is that most of the Filipino producers nowadays, they just somewhat imitate or adapt what the colonizers
Like the Spaniards
and
and
the Americans have given to us. Those ideas that are really from them, and
we just adopted it.
we just adopted it, and it's like we are applying it to our lives, which
It's not applicable to us. And
which is kind of contradicting in a way.
And gives us an unrealistic movies and values.
That we cannot really apply in reality, or if one will be applying it to reality, he or she may just end up in confusion or frustration, since not all those ideas
Our
from
values
can
can be applied to the Filipinos, since it's from our colonizers.
And what must the Filipino producers do is that they should give or produce progressive ideas that are not from the American influences or the Spaniards' influences. Like those ideas that can be relatable to our society today. It's like, for example, those topics in the independent films. They are really a good example or a good model of what Filipino producers nowadays should do. And in time, maybe they can produce a very award-winning movie with that.
Also, through cinemas and films, it is a way of communication between the viewers and the filmmakers, and in between it, it's the values that we should grasp. It's the message that we should grasp that the filmmakers want us to get. So,
with that, we should not let ourselves be closed-minded, and we shouldn't let that kind of thinking influenced by the colonizers in the past ruin what we have in reality right now. Especially, we are Filipinos, we are not them. And we have reached that point of democracy in which we should do our own and make our own ideas and progress through our own ways.
to have a economic labor. So, the structure of Nicanor Tungson's essay is that the first part is usually about the past, about our colonizers, about the values we got. Then, in the latter part, there's a transition from colonizers to Filipinos on how they grasp the value of the colonizers. Then, in the following sentences, after a few sentences, the present time is being discussed of how those values being applied in today's generation, in today's society. And afterwards, you see the message of Tungson, what he really wants us to get, and what's wrong in that value. He really explains why is this and why is that, what's wrong and what should not be made, And on the last part, yung son always give us the hint of what should we do in the present.
It's like a recommendation to all
Yes.
of us.
So, the construction again of the essay is first the introduction, which is discussing about the colonizers. Second, how the Filipinos in the past adopted. Third is how it is being adopted in today's society. Fourth, the real problem, the value that we adopted is being discussed. And fourth is the resolution or how we can correct those. So, those are 5 parts of Nicanor Thompson's 4 values. So, again, Verna Nicolas
Rochelle Arpilia.
signing off now. Bye-bye!
Bye!